Exactly what we feared it was going to be. Superstar Celtics forward Jayson Tatum underwent surgery to repair a ruptured right Achilles tendon after suffering that injury late in the fourth quarter of Monday's Game 4 loss to the Knicks. The team said the surgery was a success and that no timetable is available for his return. First and foremost, we all wish the very best to Jayson Tatum, a brilliant player facing a difficult rehab. Now, as far as the series his team continues to play, here are some notes. The Celtics are 9-2, including playoffs this year, in games that Tatum didn't play. This includes one game, a playoff win against the Magic. Both those losses were also against Orlando. Worth noting, the only playoff teams that Boston played without Tatum were the Magic and the Pistons. And I will also add that without Tatum, the Celtics are favored by 4.5 points in tonight's Game 5 at home. They're obviously significant underdogs to win the series. You see the Knicks are now minus 600 to advance to the conference final. But let's live in the moment, because you said yesterday, if you were a leader on this team, you wouldn't be talking about coming back and winning the series. You'd be talking about coming back one game at a time. How do we win one game? So I need specifics. What is the one thing the Celtics need tonight at home to force a Game 6?
I mean, I think everybody knows it. You need Jaylen Brown to be that Eastern Conference MVP, Jaylen Brown that he was last year. He needs to average 30. He needs to shoot 50% from the field, 37% from three. On the defensive end, like he did in the finals, taking the challenge against Luka, he needs to set the tone. And Jayson Tatum was their best rebounder. He's got to go up there. He's got to get in traffic. He's got to bring it down. And he's got to lead the charge. On offense, I'm looking for him to not go against those other guys. He's not going against OG. You don't want to go against Bridges. You want to go against Hart. You want to hunt that matchup against Brunson. You want to hunt that matchup against Cat. When you get those other guys, you get 2 feet in the paint. He said himself, I am the best in this league at getting 2 feet in the paint. So when you have those matchups against those other guys, it is imperative you get 2 feet in the paint and make the game easier for other guys.
It's on Jaylen Brown, says UD. What do you think?
I mean, look, this is always a team effort. Porzingis has to be great. Drew Holiday has knocked down shots. But this comes back to the $300 million man, UD, that you just spoke about, right? This is a soul check. Yes. You know, this is a character audit. So, you know, you get your team to this position. It's time to prove that, yo, I am that guy. And he has to be. There's no other option, Greeny, for it tonight.
Winman, I was busy yesterday. We had the Disney up front and everything, so I came across my screen that you had said something about how the Celtics are definitely not out of this at this point. For the audience that didn't get a chance to see it, and that would include me, what exactly is it you said, and what exactly is it you think about this series going to Game 5?
By the way, I disagree that the Knicks are the underdog tonight. I think the Knicks are the favorite tonight. They're 5-0 on the road, and they're losing their offensive, leading offensive engine for the Celtics. I'm just saying the series is not over, and I think the Knicks would agree with me. Of course, the series is not over. The Celtics are a championship team. What I think Boston needs tonight, other than Jaylen Brown having a big game, they need to somehow reanimate Kristaps Porzingis. This guy is a huge factor against the Knicks during the regular season. He's had this illness. It's been a factor. He's only averaging 5 points a game and shooting 29% in the series. But he did play 24 minutes in Game 4, an indication that he is getting his legs back from underneath him. Maybe he's not going to be capable, but they have to explore that facet of their offense. They're going to need scoring. The Knicks have been routinely playing from behind in Boston and coming back. I think their strategy changes a little bit tonight as well. I don't think they have to play for the last 5 minutes. I think they can attack Boston early, especially if they've got some uncertainty.
But to be clear, there's one other thing that I saw you'd said that I agreed with, that for those of us who've covered this team, the Celtics, in recent years, they tend to sometimes lose when you think they should win and win when you think they should lose.
Especially at the end of playoff series. Ask UD all about that. I saw him behind 3-0 in a series to the Heat and thought they were cooked and watched him win the next 3 games. I've seen him win Game 7s on the road and lose Game 7s at home. So this is a team that has shown that it can rise above at times. It also is a team that can disappoint. Well, now is the time where they have to rise above without their leader.
Hey, just on the Porzingis note, I get it. The health is a major thing for him to do, especially with his minutes he's allowed to log on the court. But he is the one X factor in a lot of those ball screens, too, and how they guard Jalen Brunson. It's different, and we'll show video eventually when you have Al Horford out there on screens, and that's who Jalen Brunson is targeting, especially when they switch on the perimeter. When you have a 7-foot unicorn that can play off of him, that even if he gets by him, you're still worried about him coming over the shoulder in the rear view, but also can contest your shot late if he gets in an ISO situation.
You know he likes to create that contact with the bigs. He can create that contact against Porzingis all he wants, but he's not finishing over 7'3".
No.
He's not finishing attention over there.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis is I called him last year, he was the cheat code. When, again, that was with a healthy Jayson Tatum. That obviously changes the complexion of literally everything in the series. But yes, if Porzingis is able to look something more like himself, that would make a huge difference.
Yeah, I mean, April 8th in the Garden. 34 points, 8 for 13 from 3. Coming back in the finals last year, 21 points in 23 minutes. He has the ability to do that, and he's a matchup problem no matter what you do. On the perimeter, he shoots it three steps from behind the line at 7-3, and in the paint, he goes for it.
Can I just tell you guys why I'm so excited about tonight? It's such a soul check. It's a soul check for the New York Knicks, where they can grab the soul of the Boston Celtics on their home court, where they are undefeated, and say, it's over, Jalen Brunson, closing time, or we get a chance to watch Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Joe Mazzulla try to find a way to continue to scratch and claw for it back at home where they haven't won a game yet.
A little later in the morning, we'll talk about what might be at stake in the long run for the Celtics as well. And, of course, the Knicks can punch a ticket to the Eastern Conference Final for the first time in essentially a quarter century. Much more basketball as we go. But there was huge baseball news yesterday, a historic decision. Baseball's Commissioner Rob Manfred has reinstated Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and many others yesterday after their lifetime bans from the sport. Shoeless Joe Jackson, of course, has been banned for almost a century. Pete Rose has been the most celebrated of these cases. The all-time hit king banned for gambling. They are both now eligible for the Hall of Fame. Here was Tony Kornheiser yesterday on PTI reacting to the news specifically about Pete Rose.
Rob Manfred does not put you in the Hall of Fame. The baseball writers who are members put you in the Hall of Fame. Those baseball writers, as we know well, are guardians of the game. They take violations very seriously.
Okay, so Tony is obviously right about that. But let's just clarify a few things here because I've seen so many opinions thrown around. First and foremost, the baseball writers have kept the steroid guys out of the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Alex Rodriguez, none of them have gotten voted in. The baseball writers have had quite literally nothing to do with Pete Rose not getting into the Hall of Fame. His name has never been on the ballot. The only time he has ever come up in the voting has been when some writers have put his name on the ballot, and a result of that was their ballots being disqualified. So let's be clear about that. The baseball writers have never had anything to do with Pete Rose getting into the Hall of Fame, and they will not now either. In late 2027, Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson will go before something that is called the Classic Baseball Era Committee, where 16 people will vote. They need 12 votes to get into the Hall of Fame. That will be in late 2027. That is when we will find out whether or not Pete Rose gets into the Hall of Fame, which has been the biggest sports talk topic in my 30-year career in this business. And so I will just say what I have said from the very first day I talked about it. Pete Rose's lifetime ban from the sport, meaning from employment in baseball, was fully appropriate. That should never have had anything to do with the Hall of Fame. He should always have been in the Hall of Fame. There's something on the plaque that said banned for life for gambling on baseball. That's the way it always should have been, and that is the way I hope it goes in late 2027. We'll talk more about it as we continue. In the meantime, back to the basketball. The Brunson barrage. He's usually the smallest guy on the floor. So how is he dominating night after night? JWill and Udonis are not going to tell you. They're going to show you next. Get